4 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
What is on your mind, Cayman? If you are ready to talk, we are ready to listen. Here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, welcome, and thank you very, very much for joining us. We're going to have an engaging, interesting discussion telling you some of the things that the Cayman's National Attractions Authority will have on slate. Hopefully, the Honourable Tourism Minister will join us, but we'll start out a conversation with Mr. Patrick Thompson. 1:30, I'll get a chance to have some open line between 1 and 1:30, and then 1:30, Philip Richter will join us. So, invite you to be a part of our informative and engaging discussion. Stay tuned.
Avoid any statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use indecent language or make any statement that is false or misleading. Call 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or WhatsApp us on 925-3261.
Email talk today at candw.ky. Let your voice be heard.
And now, back to Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, Radio Cayman Talk Today.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much for the opportunity to always sit, engage, and to be able to be informed, interact with our elected parliamentarians, and the Honourable Tourism Minister joins us. Scott Bryan, good to see you again, man. How are you today, sir?
I am not too bad, my brother. God bless you and God bless your listening audience. It's a pleasure to be here, talk about the future and tourism in our youth. I'm happy to have the director for Sinner here with us today to speak about our summer plans. I don't want to steal his thunder, so I'll allow him to introduce himself.
All right, well, Mr. Thompson, that was a good segue. He said to introduce thyself, so here we are.
I'm Patrick Thompson. I'm the director at the Cayman Islands National Attractions Authority. The minister loves to call it by the acronym, and I don't love how it's pronounced. I call it SINA.
SINA.
Just an extended.
It could be worse,
You're all sinners unto the Lord.
You see, that's where the Honourable Minister, he reminds us, through prayer and petition and supplication, we, bring...
Exactly.
Ourselves before the Lord. We may not be prostrate, but boy, sometimes we are purposeful.
Well, there are so many good reasons to give him thanks because we were spared from that hurricane, and we're thankful, especially out at the attractions. We want to really give God thanks for sparing them because, like the Botanic Park, for example, is just out in the open. Even Pedro, right next to the Iron Shore. But we were spared this time, and we're thankful. Attractions are looking good, and we're ready for business.
That's the key. The idea that a nation such as ours have so many wonderful opportunities, not just for the visitors who may be repeat or first time, but for us who may have friends visiting, but just for ourselves to see what sometimes we don't avail ourselves of. Honourable Minister, it's easy to ignore what's before you, I guess. I'll leave that joke for another time. we're a little too close to
that silly season.
Okay.
Sterling, thank you so much for allowing us to be on here. Today we're talking about the Cayman Islands National Attractions Authority, better known as the Tourism Attractions Board. We're mainly being Pedro St. James and the Botanic Park, and we're going to be involving some other entities that fall under the responsibility of the Ministry of Tourism. My ministry for the second year in a row now has decided to sponsor, free of cost, a summer camp for kids to expose them to the things that we do within tourism and a lot of cultural components too, because in order to be a good ambassador, you're basically selling who Cayman is and who we are as a people. And so you have to be exposed to, some of the things that we hold dear to our heart, like our historical sites. And it gives an option of showing you what we do, what we tell our stories, and how we tell it. So the director, Mr. Thompson, will be talking about some of the things that we will be doing throughout the week of the camp, what age groups, how to get in contact with us, and all of those types of things. But my ministry, with the support of my colleagues, decided to sponsor this yet again this year, and we want to continue to do that as long as I'm in office. Because giving them the opportunity, we hear so many times about persons concerned that there's not enough Caymanians in the tourism field. And you have to build that interest from a very young age. I must admit that sometimes the entry-level jobs are not always the most attractive from the income perspective per hour. But if you work hard, particularly in high season and gratuities, you can make some good money. And so we have to constantly be selling that narrative of the opportunities that are there, but also more importantly, working with the business owners to give our people the opportunity to be in the field. But a little bit later on, I would like to address a perception about the lack of Caymanians in the industry. And why that is. But before we do that, I'll ask Director Thompson to go through the specific details for the camp, because that's what we're here for today. And listening audience, you might want to grab a pen and a notepad, because you may know a child that want to be exposed to this, and we have limited numbers. So Director will tell you about that now.
So this is the Tourism Ambassador Summer Camp.
Correct.
Okay, Mr. Thompson.
And it is being done, like the minister has said, for the second year in a row, and it was a tremendous success last year. And the minute we put out the flyer, the first 2 weeks were filled, and right now we just have space for the latter 2 weeks. And let me just tell you quickly, the first 2 weeks will begin on July 15th and will end on July 26th, I believe. There we go, and that's for age groups 7 to 11. But that's all filled already. So if your child is between ages 7 to 11, we're sorry, but those 2 weeks are filled already. But what we have open now, or what we have additional space for kids that are, or should I say, preteens and the teens who are 12 to 17. And the camp for those individuals will be between July 29th to August 9th. The camp will accommodate 50 individuals each week. So if you've signed up for 1 week, you cannot sign up for the next week. So it's not a 4-week camp for the individual. It's just 1 week per child.
4 weeks, 50 people.
Exactly.
5,000 attending.
That's 200 in total. 200 kids.
I thought we'd do the government accounting.
No. 200 kids, and we will make sure. Again, this is 100% sponsored by the Ministry of Tourism, and the individuals that are there, the 200 kids that will be there, they will be fed. They'll get lunch, breakfast if they leave home and they didn't have a meal. That will be provided. Transportation will be provided to take them to the Botanic Park, Peter St. James, and the Cayman Turtle Center. So those are all entities that are under the Ministry of Tourism as well. We have contacted a company to deal with the transportation, one of the school bus companies to deal with transportation, and all parents have to do is drop their kids off at the Lion Center. The Lion Center has been so gracious to offer their facility again this year for us to do the pickup and drop off of kids, for parents to do pickup and drop off at that point.
What time should the children get to the Lion Center in order to be transported?
The buses will leave at 8:30 because the camp will run from 8:30 until 3:30. So it's best if they get there for 8 o'clock or 8:10 so that the bus can promptly leave at 8:30.
Okay.
So we will have counselors there on hand to accept the kids or the teens when they show up. And also, if you live in East End, for example, Sterling, you don't have to come all the way to Lion Center to drop your child off, because for the first 2 days, the camp will be at the Botanic Park. So you could drop your child off at the Botanic Park, and there will be a counselor there to accept the child early in the morning. Well, not at 5 o'clock, but maybe at 8 o'clock. And so, your child, you don't have to take that child to Lion Center to go back east. And again, on Friday when they get to West Bay, because on Friday they'll be at the Turtle Center, the same thing applies. The counselors will be there from early, and if you live in the West Bay area and your child is attending, then they could be dropped off there instead of the Lion Center. And if you live in Savannah, same thing, you could go over to Peter St. James. But let me tell you about all the good stuff that they're going to be able to do. You're going to have rope and thatch making, arts and crafts. The Visual Arts Society is coming on board this year, and the Visual Arts Society actually has a spot at Peter St. James. So those artists are going to be coming on board, and they're going to be doing some arts and craft and special visual art stuff, if I could say that, with the kids and with the teens on the Thursdays, because the Wednesdays and Thursdays will be at Peter St. James. We're going to have people like Mr. Dwayne Ebanks and other individuals who will come and do the gigs. He'll do the gigs, but we have thatch, rope making, and at Peter St. James we have the rope making set up, so all of these kids will be exposed to that. In addition to that, last year we didn't have a representative from DOT, but I've been in touch with Miss Janet Holness, and she has promised me that she will be a part of it this year. And so the whole pride training, know your Cayman Islands. It's important for the kids to be the ambassadors. When cruise ship passengers or stayover guests run into them on the road, they're supposed to be saying to them, yes, Peter St. James is one of the best places to go if you want to learn the history of the Cayman Islands, if you want to look at the flora, fauna, the Botanic Park, and the wonderful children's garden that's up there. If they run into individuals who have families and the kids need to go out there, there's so much here to do. And I must say, I'm so happy to see the residents of the Cayman Islands going out to the Botanic Park. The resident numbers have been increasing over the past, let's say, year, and they're taking advantage of the children's garden that's out there, because they're causing our revenues to increase as well, just because they're taking advantage.
Yes, as much for them to be ambassadors for visitors as it is probably more important to be aware of who you are, where you are, and what you have.
Absolutely.
Honourable Minister, if you wish, if not, we'll take the first break, and then when you come back, before we
go to a break, I just want to steal in an opportunity to say a special happy 19th birthday to a very important young man to me, Mr. Colin Cunningham, a recent graduate of CCC, and he turns 19 today. He's one of the proud young people in my constituency that loves tourism, actually wants to be a pilot, and he's already starting to do some training at Cayman Airways for internship. Really, really proud of him, and we want to take these opportunities to highlight them, particularly on their special days. So happy birthday to you, young man. 19 years old is a very good age for your continued growth, and may God bless you all day today. And if anybody knows him, that's Miss Daisy Martin's son. Very proud mother. So if you see him, give him a hug and tell him happy birthday.
And tell him save ice cream for the minister. All right, we'll pause and take a break. When we come back, we'll tell you more about the camp, how to participate. Please stay tuned.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
It's game time, Subway fans. We're upping our sub game with the Subway Series menu, an all-star lineup of 6 delicious recipes. Just order by name or number and we'll do the rest. Whether you're catching a quick lunch or just need a tasty victory, the Subway Series menu is coming in clutch. Subway Series, easy to order, hard to resist. Try it today, only at Subway. Eat fresh.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Boddentown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Our climate is changing, and so is Cayman. Stronger and more frequent hurricanes, longer periods of drought, sea level rise, and higher temperatures are already impacting our communities. If we take nature into account before we act, we can harness nature's benefits and reduce the devastation caused by natural disasters. Because when we put nature front and center, nature can provide the solutions.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And as we talk about the Tourism Ambassador Summer Camp, the Honorable Kenneth Bryan, the Minister for Tourism, is in studio together with the Director for the, I agree with how the Honorable Minister says sinner, but I know the Director Thompson doesn't like the kind of national attractions authority. Hey, we got CINA, which is the National Archive. So, Mr. Thompson, as you tell us about this summer camp, we say you like CINA better?
Right, just what do they say? A long A. Since it's a double A. CINA.
No, we already got our man. We got a National Archive. I think our minister is onto something.
I tell you one thing, you won't forget it if you call it CINA. But most appropriately, just because it's something new in legislation, with it becoming an authority allows us to do much more things than what it was before with just being a board.
Mm-hmm.
And the acronym, if for those who may have heard it for the very first time, CINA, Cayman Islands National Attractions Authority.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to give so much thanks to the chairperson who has been there for the last 3 administrations, if my memory is correct, Ms. Carla Reed, who has 10 years. She's been the catalyst for this transition, and the hope and plan is with it being under an authority that we can, start to acquire some more sites that are considered to be attractions, and continue to grow our attractions because it is conducive to our tourism package and what we sell. People come here to find out history, knowledge, people, cuisines, music, those kinds of things. So all of those are essential to it, and that's what the authority is all about. With that being said, I think that we had some changes to some of the dates due to the fact of the hurricane. So I'll ask the director to just confirm those dates one more time just so people are aware. Matter of fact, I think I got them. So for ages 12 to 17, and there's still spots open for 2 weeks, which would be from the 29th to the 9th of August. And that's a 2-week period, and each week would be 50 kids. We were so happy to know that we've already filled the first 2 weeks for the age groups of 7 to 11, which tells us that the last year was a success and people are aware of it. And once we sent it out, particularly because it's free, a lot of parents who have full-time jobs don't know how to handle their kids, not how to handle the kids, what they're going to do with their kids while they're at work during the 2 months break. So as much as any government agency or department or ministry can offer these options for parents, it's like a injection back into the people's pockets, because they do have to figure out what to do, and if we can offer it for free. And that's why it was so essential that I made sure that within my budget, I found the monies and the savings to do this, to cover it, while at the same time, yes, it's a benefit to the parent, but more importantly, it's a benefit to the child. So in tourism, we always say everybody is in the business of tourism. Every single person you see, from the garbage man to the nurse to the hostess at the hotel to the driver, everybody, because tourism is the environment upon which the people embrace their experiences here. And that experience can be with the gas pump attendant. How you doing today? Where are you from? You from Alabama? Well, welcome to the Cayman Islands. I hope you're enjoying yourself today. Don't forget to put your suntan on. That's tourism. It's a people, it's a way, it's our Cayman kindness. So we want to, not necessarily that every one of these children are going to end up in tourism-related jobs, but whatever job they're in, they can also be a tourism ambassador. Because one of the things that made us so attractive is that people are always willing to share Cayman with them, even no matter where they went, outside of the tourism zones, so to speak. So that's what we're trying to build, and I hope that this will continue with the authority well after I'm no longer minister, and hopefully this will continue on for years to come. It's something I'm very proud that we introduced, and I'm very proud of the director and his team down there for introducing this. We're adding on some teachers from the Caymanian teachers from the education department to help assist with, what is it exactly we're teaching? Because, we're having much of this transition of understanding of who we are because of many reasons with our growth and melting pot and our culture and our history. We hear about trying to add curriculums about our history and stuff like that. So bringing in the educational component outside of just the visits to the locations and the cultural thing. So we do a good job of that already, which is teaching the thatch work, seeing the sites, our trees, our animals and all that. It's something we do every day at the authority, but we want to also try to bring it more from a curriculum perspective within that 1 week. You take away something that is outside of your ordinary tourists will get at those attractions. So this will continue to develop. Every year we'll learn from it and make it become, hopefully, with even more money, rather than it just being 200 kids. Maybe one day we can get it to a point where probably there's, 1,000 kids, which would make a lot of work for Mr. Patrick. But I know if I give him the necessary support with his team that we can do that, because, like I said, tourism is everybody's business.
Absolutely.
Now, we're recognizing that there's no financial cost to the family, but is there registration? Is there anything that you require of those? You did share the first 2 weeks, so already subscribe. The second 2 weeks, there's still some spaces for those who want to. Right. What do they need to do, Mr. Thompson?
So for age group 12 to 17, we still have spaces available. And if individuals have not seen the flyer as yet, for whatever reason, they could go to our Facebook page. It's there. They could also call 949-6999, and they could get information there on how to register. On the flyer, there is a QR code which takes you to a website, Google Forms website, and that's where people are able to register online. And once you're able to fill in the details, it comes in to us, and then someone will respond and say exactly, okay, your child has been added to week 3 or week 4. Those are available. And then you'll just be guided. We will send an email with details of what the child is expected to bring if there were any missing information. Because one of the things that we want to ensure is that children who are enrolled in the schools here are the ones who benefit from this program. Because there are other camps that allow everyone to join. And most of those are paid camps anyway. But because this is a free camp, we want to ensure that the children who are participating are children who are registered in school here, whether homeschool or whether they actually physically go to school, but they're registered. And proof that you're registered and you're going to school in the Cayman Islands has to be provided before you're accepted to go into that camp. And we've extended the deadline date for registration to, it's actually past here, July 10th on my, it was originally June 30th, but then we extended it to July 10th, but we're still accepting registration. So scan that QR code or call 949-6999. And you'll get instructions on how to register. You could also send an email to sinasummercamp@gmail.com. So you'll get information there. But tons of activities. Like I said before, 2 days at the park, 2 days at Peter St. James. And of course, we save the goodies on that Turtle Center for last because we want them to be focused on several things when they come out to the Botanic Park and Peter St. James. But the fun will take place down at Turtle Center where they could get to swim and have all the fun with the turtles.
Without question, this provides, as you said, tourism ambassador summer camp, and it gives us more. Now, we have the final quick break. I know the Honourable Minister has got back. So when we return, Honourable Minister, maybe share with us anything else you want and remind people about the camp and the like and the commitment on part of the government to invest in these young campers relative to being a part of the tourism ambassadorship. We're going to pause and take that break. And when we return, we invite you to rejoin us.
Refer a friend and get $50 to spend when your friend or family member opens a personal account with Cayman National. From July 9th to September 30th, 2024, C&B customers can earn $50 for each referral who opens an individual or joint personal account. Earn up to $500 with a maximum of 10 referrals. Visit caymannational.com for more details on this promotion and follow us on social media for updates. Terms and conditions apply.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet. Because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs, and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Prescription refills made easy at Savannah Pharmacy. WhatsApp your prescription refills to 929-5045. Radio Cayman, your #1 community station, would like to remind you that we are in the hurricane season, and in order to survive a hurricane, you need to be prepared. If officials' sources say a hurricane is imminent, please board up or shutter up windows in your home or place of business. Remember to use good lumber, as makeshift boarding may actually cause more damage. Also put strong bracing on outside doors so that they are not blown off or blown in.
This hurricane advice was brought to you by Radio Cayman, your caring community radio station.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back and thanks for joining us. Thanks to the Honorable Tourism Minister, Mr. Kenneth Bryan, for sitting with us, and Director Mr. Patrick Thompson from Cayman's National Attractions Authority. Hey, the Honorable Minister, as we know, has been very, very diligent and astute and a strong work ethic, but good sense of humor, man.
Yeah, man.
So he'll say we all sinners, are we not?
Well, if I could just say, the other option was NAACI, and you could go ahead and pronounce.
No, I'll leave it to you. But you saw me playing with it, right? Because it's almost like you sit down and you got an anagram, right? You're looking at it. So I did that as well. I came up with a couple for you, But Alex, I mean, but all, you know what?
Yeah. All jokes aside, the Cayman Islands National Attractions Authority is something we're very proud of in our ministry. And what is this about today for those who are just tuning in? It's about the Tourism Ambassador Summer Camp, which is put on by the Ministry of Tourism and Ports and the National Attractions Authority. We're very happy to be able to do this again for the second year with addressing free of cost a summer camp focused on tourism-related matters for young people between the ages of 7 and 17, free of cost with over 200 children. And the purpose of this is we recognize in tourism that tourism is everybody's business. And if we get to the young people from an early stage, regardless if they find themselves within the tourism industry, whatever industry they're in, when they interact with our visitors and guests, they'll be able to be an ambassador on behalf of the Cayman Islands. We're happy to deliver this, particularly for parents who sometimes have struggles with having their kids having something positive to do while they're on summer break. The kids get a break, but the parents still have to continue to work.
Work has to be going, right?
One thing that we haven't covered so far in the details is what will they need if they are selected, because there's a few spots left only in the 12 to 17. We have spots left from July the 29th to the 9th of August. And each week we'll have 50 kids. So make sure you go ahead and try to call if you have a kid in mind who would benefit from this. The number is 949-6999. That again, 949-6999. Or you can send an email to CINAA@gmail.com, and that is CINAAA summercamp@gmail.com. If you would like to register your child, we have a QR code here, but obviously the radio listeners cannot see the code. So we want to encourage you to go ahead. There's not many spaces left. Obviously, all the young kids are already sorted out, and the older kids, maybe the reason why the older kids hasn't been filled yet is a lot of them can take care of themselves, and they probably want to stay at home playing video games. But if you're a strong parent and you said, nope, no video games for you, young man or young lady, go and learn about the value of tourism and what your role is. That one set of information I was going to say to you earlier that we haven't told persons who have registered already or plan to register is to know that campers must bring sunscreen because they will be out in the sun. Bring a hat, sneakers, a water bottle. I do think that they will be receiving I can confirm that. What am I saying? Thinking I'd already given them the bottles, some water bottles sponsored by our ministry again. Swimwear, towels and snacks, because lunches will be provided. But a little snack here and there if your child gets hungry or
a little peckish.
Peckish. I like the way you said that. Peckish.
A little peckish.
Put a little corned beef sandwich inside your bag there in case you get peckish.
There you go, man.
So, but we recognize that that kids can get sunburn if they're not accustomed to being outside in the sun for a long time. But in order for them to truly understand the culture, the heritage, the history, which is a part of the tourism product and delivering that information, you need to be outside. We don't want to stay a bunch of kids up in a classroom. They've been doing that for the last 10 months. This is about having fun while learning at the same time. So they'll be particularly at the Botanic Park around the beautiful blue iguanas and all the wildlife that is there, as well as the vegetation at Pedro St. James to learn the history of the castle, as well as many of the other attractions that we have there, like the International Scuba Diving Hall of Fame, all of these different things. And obviously we'll go to our amazing Turtle Center, Educational Turtle Center, which I think every child in this country should know the history of. So there's a lot of things that we will be offering the kids, so it's important for them to bring their sunscreen, hats, sneakers, water bottles. Do we think we need to have them bring the water bottles, even though we've donated the 200 for the kids?
No. If they'll receive water bottles
at the end is what the intended part, but maybe
we
should
do it up front.
Yeah, do it up front. So if you don't have a water bottle, don't worry about it. Each child was intended to have a water bottle donated from my ministry at the end. But what we'll do is just give it to them at the start, and we can fill up the bottle water from.
What
the
about
start.
towel? Someone's asking, like towel and changing clothes.
So towel,
especially for Botanic Park. On Monday, Tuesday, because there's a splash pad there, and on Fridays. But at Peter St. James, there wouldn't necessarily need a towel on Wednesday and Thursday.
If I might, I was trying to respond to the list, this person listening, but respectful, if I could ask through you, Honourable Minister, this parent saying, they're now becoming aware of this, too late, for their child category, but is it possible to sort of maybe get on a list, put a heads up for next year, just in case. Understanding the person says, a year is a long time away, but unable to make it this time, just already subscribe for that.
Interesting you say that, because it would be actually pretty good if we knew how many people would be interested in something like this.
Helping to plan for
it. It helps me plan, because financially I have to. Cine is a different agency, obviously. It falls under my ministry, but they have their own budget. So this was not budgeted for. So I took money out of my ministry to give to them for them to afford it. Otherwise, they'll be taking money from their operations. They can't pay their staff and so forth.
Right.
So if I had an indication of how many people would be interested in something like this, then I would have to find the necessary monies to cover it. I won't disclose how much money I had to find for this, because it's not necessarily important to this. What matters is the kids don't have to pay for it. But it was a substantial amount of money that I had to wiggle out and take a little bit from here and here and there to get it done. But I hope we tried it last year and we said, okay, let's do this again, see if there's still the same amount of interest. And there has been overwhelming interest from the young people. I think we had to turn away unfortunately not accept a lot of the applications from a young age. So maybe what we'll do next year is put some more funding on the younger kids level and reduce the level for the older. But we do want to make sure that we're tapping into the 12 to 15, because those are the ones who are going to come out of high school and go, you know what, I can actually do tourism because I got a taste of it before, right?
If I might, not necessarily that you're able or willing to answer it just yet, but to the director, Honourable Minister, since that's operations, in sort of your statistical analysis, you're looking at the campers that you have this year. Do you know how many of them last year or their siblings have been on board? By chance.
Well, we had more than 200 applications last year. I think it was closer to 300 actually. But like the minister said, the younger age group was, we got overwhelming response there, and so we didn't necessarily track siblings of any particular family.
But do we know if they're doing this year again?
If the same individuals?
Same individual.
To be honest, Sterling, I didn't get an opportunity to check that out in detail, but it's possible. It's quite possible.
It's good data to analyze. That's a very good question, because you just want to make sure you give opportunity to as many kids as possible. Because I'm going to go out on a limb here and say something that could potentially be perceived as sensitive, but it's not a babysitting camp.
But it's not.
It is a camp to give exposure. So there's one or two things I can do here is go and find, because I want to grow this. I know there's not only 200 kids that can use this opportunity. There's probably about a good 1,000 per summer that can use it. And I would, unless I'm willing to say, do 1,000 funding for 1,000 and the support staff that is needed, because trust me, it's not an easy task.
The ratio of minister is 1 to 5, one counselor per 5.
So you understand that we would need at that point almost 200 people to help assist the team to deliver the safety levels necessary per child. So if we want persons to continue to repeat, and I can understand there's some kids who love it, because a lot of kids expressed the last time how much fun that they had, and that's what we want to do. Because if you're not having fun, you're not going to love the concept of being a tourism ambassador. So we want to make sure they have fun, and that means that child may want to go back. Mommy, I want to go back to the tourism camp again, or Daddy, I want to go back. So I get that. But we want to make sure we spread it as much as possible. So analyzing that data of who went last year, who is applying now, may be important. But I would hate to know that a child who wants to do it again just didn't get it because they've done it before.
And I think buying into your vision, the notion that that child, seeing that you want us to be consistent. They move, up the ranks, and then part of that education and instruction, apprenticeship almost, they get to see what it involved, that consistency. The football player starts out probably don't even know how to lace up the boots, and all of a sudden she's on the national team as the main goalie.
It's interesting that you said that, Sterling, because we identified, at first 2 individuals from the camp, the older group last year, and we selected one person. We only had one, Miss Miller, I can't remember her first name right, just let me, but she's going to be like an apprenticeship she's going to be a counselor. So she will be supervising the younger kids for the first 2 weeks. And she has said she wants to be a part of the camp again. So when the older group comes in weeks 3 and 4, she wants to be there now as a camper, even though she's supervising and helping the counselors to look after the younger kids.
Well, if it's so,
I think that I love the conversation, and I'm glad you've challenged us with that question. Because I'm going to challenge Mr. Patrick to make sure that we have that analysis to go through it together. And I'm going to find more money, because I'm glad to know that there's still people thinking about it. And I must say that if we were to try to deal with everybody who has tried to apply for the younger kids, we would probably have triple the amount. And I'm going to try to plan for that. I know that that's not something Mr. Patrick wants to hear right yet, but I'll get him the resources from a human capital perspective and a financial perspective, because we are constantly trying to improve our exposure about tourism to our Caymanians to be in the industry. We are going through this social media video that's circulating everywhere right now. I have seen it. For those who are listening, I've seen it. But recognizing that there's not enough Caymanians to be in the whole industry. The tourism industry and financial services and construction and IT and all that is bigger than the amount of Caymanians that we have. So even if every single Caymanian was employed, we still need to have non-Caymanians working in the industry. But the frontal-facing people, that's why we invest in type of things like this. That's why we invest in scholarships. That's why we invest in the hospitality school at UCCI and training programs and pride programs and all the relevant scholarships for pilots and so forth and chefs, because we want that if they want to go into it, they can. But the private sector needs to do their part to give Caymanians that opportunity. And that's where sometimes we have the struggle. We shouldn't have to tell an employer, listen, hire the Caymanian. And that's really that delicate balance politically that we're talking about today. But we'll get through it together. My job is to make sure they have the opportunity with the right training from a very young level straight all the way up to a bachelor's and a master's degree, and we're doing that.
One of the ministers I know initially you had until 1 p.m. or next segment has been vacated until 1:30. If and only you wish to stay on. If not, we don't want to impose on you.
Well, I think
that is your call.
I have something in the government building.
You did?
At 1:30 or 1:15. Either way, I can give you at least 10 more minutes.
Only if it works for you.
Yeah.
Well,
just to add to what you got there as a question from that parent, what we could do, Minister, is create one of those forms again at the end of the camp and send out to parents and just in general put that on our Facebook page to determine the level of interest from this year for next year. So we'll know what kind of numbers we have that are interested and also the age categories, because we could do 3 or 4 weeks for the younger group and maybe 2 weeks for the older group, depending on the response.
Should have sent it to the school.
All right, so let's pause. If Honourable Minister and Mr. Thompson, you have time, we'll certainly, if it's of value to you, we can make a benefit. To our listeners, when we return after the news, we'll ask you to join us.
Since 1976.
Covering Grand Cayman, no Cayman, Cayman right. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankins-Ollins. The Cayman Islands Government Asia Office officially opened in Singapore on June 25th, led by Deputy Premier and Minister for Financial Services and Commerce, the Honourable Dwayne Ebanks, and a delegation marking a milestone in financial services expansion. In international news, a man who killed 4 Indigenous women in the Canadian province of Manitoba is guilty of first-degree murder, a judge has ruled. Lawyers for Jeremy Skibicki had tried to argue that he was not criminally responsible because he was suffering from schizophrenia at the time of the killings. Prosecutors argued his crimes were racially motivated and said that he had never been diagnosed with any form of the mental illness. U.S. actress Shelley Duvall, known for films like The Shining, Annie Hall, and Nashville, has died at the age of 75. She died in her sleep of complications from diabetes at her home in Texas. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankins-Ollins.
More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
HSA's Urgent Care Clinic is now open 7 days per week to serve you better. Visit our dedicated team at Urgent Care, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and weekends and public holidays, 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. No appointment necessary. If you are experiencing non-life-threatening symptoms and conditions, such as the cold and flu, sprains and cuts, earaches, nausea and vomiting, visit Urgent Care's walk-in clinic at the main entrance of the Georgetown Hospital, now open every day. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
At Kirk Market, it's so easy to eat well and find healthy options. With their fresh veggies from local farmers, hormone-free chicken, local seafood, and grass-fed meats, Kirk Market has delicious, quality food at the best prices. And you must check out their fresh salad bar, hot bar, and med bar for daily healthy options on the go. Their delicious dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients such as prime meats and organic veggies. Eating great is important to me. That's why Kirk Market is my store. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and shop happy.
In 1904, Cayman Brac turtling captain and boat builder Daniel Jervis built a prototype Caymanian catboat named Terra, an obvious improvement on the previous canoe-style boats of the day. The Caymanian catboat was on average 16 feet long and drew no more than 8 inches of water. Painted in their distinctive catboat blue color, it provided effective camouflage when seen from below, permitting the crew to discreetly approach turtles.
Cayman Islands, your input can shape our future. Plan Cayman needs your input on the updated planning statement to create a sustainable community for everyone. Help shape Cayman's future by participating in public consultations with the Central Planning Authority and the Ministries for Planning and Sustainability. Together, we can build a thriving Cayman. For details and to find the meeting closest to you, visit plancayman.ky. Your voice matters. Let's plan Cayman together.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks not only to the Honorable Kenneth, Bryan. I was looking at it and I'm thinking, let's be serious for a second. On my part, what you're sharing through this, tourism ambassador summer camp isn't just an opportunity for that early years, a 7 to 11-year-old or that, preteen up until 17, while they're still in school, to be introduced to a very rewarding financially and personally, career, but to serve as ambassadors on island for people who visit, to extend that welcome to family who may have not been here for a while, but when they travel as part of their sports or academics, or when they're off to university, or when they're working, well, what do you know about your country? How do you sell your space? It's being able to talk with passion, with pride, but being informed.
Let me talk about something that is going to be a little bit sensitive here for a minute. We are a melting pot. I know sometimes that comes with a level of sensitivity because we are having more new Caymanians than we are having birth Caymanians, generational Caymanians as we call them. And some of us may not be happy about that. Some of us understand the growth of our development, our success comes with some pains as we would see them. But we have to come to terms with that. And coming to terms with that means it's essential that those persons who are now new Caymanians, that their children understand who they are now in order for them to be ambassadors. For example, what I'm getting at here is you have a new Caymanian, that child is a Caymanian. Normally you get who you are from your parents. But if your parents didn't grow up here, didn't expose themselves as much to the culture and the heritage, how can they then pass it on to a child at home? Naturally, they probably won't be able to do it very well. Most of your stuff will come from school and your peers around you, like say, for instance, somebody coming from Argentina and they're living here, their parents became Caymanian. Well, boy, let's go pelt some mangoes. Well, your Argentinian parents probably wasn't exposed to that growing up in West Bay and going on the bush down by the cow yard and pelting mangoes and all your culture and what maiden plum is and what a mahogany tree look like and all that. So you get that experience from probably your friends and so forth. We want to make sure that all Caymanians, and that's where you go at it from a young perspective, because you will have a lot of young people who are becoming Caymanians whose parents aren't Caymanian or were not born here to be able to transfer that information to the child. And we want to make sure that all Caymanians, regardless of whether they are born here or not here, are all ambassadors at the same time. So when you think about it from a melting pot perspective, I really hope that everybody who's becoming Caymanian truly takes the time to embrace what you said you want to become. Because when you get up and you say, I swear that I will be Caymanian and stay true allegiance to the King and to the Cayman Islands, that comes with seriousness. That means you are becoming a part of a family. And what does that family stand for? What is important to them? So allowing their children to be embracing that so they transition into what is Caymanian. Because yes, you may have been from Argentina, but your child will no longer be Argentinian. They're now Caymanian. And when they have children, their children will be a second generation Caymanian. So there's a lot of dynamics there to digest, but it's essential for the continuedness of protecting what we are as Caymanian, and what we are is our culture, our heritage, our practices, our music, our food, and our spirit of Caymanian kindness.
Right. Gentlemen, I'm told we have a caller. Yes. I know, Honorable Minister, you did share that you have, even though it may be only, I think, Susan counted
the people are more important than...
It's 71 steps from here to where you need to go.
You counted them, didn't you?
And that's only a few. Honorable Kenneth Bryan and Mr. Patrick Thompson from CINA. Cayman's National Attractions Authority. Gents, let's go to the phones. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hey, good afternoon, Sterling.
How are you today, my friend?
I'm well. You good?
Man, listen, I'm in the company of good fellas, not only because they make me look good in their handsomeness, but they encourage me, and uplift me. So hope and pray you do well as well.
Well, I'm not sure about Mr. Thompson, but Minister Bryan got it going on.
Aye.
I sense that's a friendly fire.
Yeah, no.
I'm preparing you for what coming, you know.
Oh boy.
When a male colleague can commend you on your handsomeness, man, that's a good thing, you know.
Yeah,
especially not on a Friday night.
I take compliments from all directions. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. Ken, no, it's injustice. Good afternoon to your minister and to Mr. Thompson that's in there. Minister, I listened to you and thank you, and this is an amazing program that you have. I'm not sure how many years. I got that you did it last year. Was it done before that, or last year was the first year?
I'm not aware. This is the first time that it's happened under my administration or our administration.
Yeah.
Mr. Patrick, has it happened before?
No.
So
Only last year, so this is the second time.
Right.
It has never happened in my tenure, and it's been a while since I've.
Well, given the age groups that you're targeting, we can only hope and pray that in a few years' time that it materializes. But that is perhaps why I'm calling, because, Minister, I certainly share a differing view and strongly, and I know deep down inside most Caymanians feel the same way, and perhaps yourself, but I won't put words into your mouth. I don't think our problem isn't that Caymanians don't want to get into the industry, nor do I think that Caymanians are being, that they look the other way at getting into the industry because of the perceived lower wages. You put it as opportunities, and perhaps that's a nice way of saying it, in that we're hoping that the private sector give them the opportunities. The mere fact that we're having to say that, like you just said a while ago, is disgusting, to say the least. Our people are applying for jobs and are just not given the jobs. Those who are even answered, never mind interviewed. Those who are interviewed, including myself, they find every way to find a reason not to hire you. We have got in this country where we're asking, and by the way, our government doesn't do a very good example either, although they're pretty good, they're better, at looking for ready-made employees. Very few countries that I know about, certainly that are tourism dependent, does not do a very good job at attracting their locals and training them in that industry, like Cayman has not been doing. You cannot see that around the region, and so this is certainly a good step. But when you have managers and places, this is just not even knowing that you were going to be on today. I had a conversation on WhatsApp with a very good friend of mine and a very senior person that you would know very well, who I brought something to their attention, and they came back and said, that's so sad, because I know a young lady, for example, who interned at one of those particular hotels, and I won't call the name now, not because I can't. I just chose to not do that at this point in time. And the intern ended up leaving from there because of the horrible experience that they were having, both with the staff, predominantly expats that were in there. I know you probably are aware by now of the most recent disaster that we got going around with another visitor filing an online review. I think it's in TikTok or something.
Yeah, so I spoke about it earlier. You probably didn't hear it. But
I didn't hear it. And so, you know,
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because I'm going to agree with you. I don't want you to go anywhere. I'm not trying to interrupt you, but I want to have an interaction.
Sure.
Right? Because it's important. I want us to kind of be in the living room and everybody overhearing us talk, right? Because I know who the caller is, and you're my good friend, and I respect you a lot tremendously. You're older than me, so I look up to you.
Ooh, that
so,
was
I'm not throwing him under the bus for his age, but he's older than me.
We're together.
So the video that went around before you came on, I said I recognize it because everybody's sending it to me and say, Ken, what is this? See, this shouldn't be the case, and Caymanians need to be in the industry. And I go, you're right. So before we get into the industry not hiring Caymanians, because we're going to tackle that together shortly. But I want to tackle the reality of what the industry and the level of the resources of labor that is necessary for it. For example, if we were to hire every single unemployed Caymanian right now, right, because it's about 4.5, almost 5% now is the rate, is the numbers, and replace them with expats that are in the tourism industry in the various places, restaurants, hotels, marine environment, fishing, and all these other things that you can think of that are tourism related, right? you still will not have enough Caymanians to fill the industry. We are blessed to have a bigger industry and economy than we do have population of Caymanians. But the query that I think that we are challenging is the industry and the employers and the owners of these companies given a true chance to Caymanians when they do apply to put them on the front facing, recognizing, like say for instance, a hotel or business has 100 spots. Do they choose those, 30 Caymanians that they can get in the industry and put them in the kitchen, in the back, or cleaning the room and whatever, and use that percentage to say, oh, I got 30% Caymanians? Are they actually, which would look more beneficial to the country's product and interfacing with the guests, say, let your 30% be in management and front-facing, bellmen, front desk, bartenders, where part they interact with the Caymanian flavor of people. I agree with you that is not happening. Now, I think most people know how Kenneth Bryan feel about immigration, and I hold no bones about that. I'm not the Minister for Labour, and we are trying our best to make some legislative changes, and I don't want to create a hostile environment for the industry upon which I'm responsible for. My job is to...
I'm sorry to stop.
Yeah, no. Don't be sorry. Go ahead.
I'm along the same lines you are. Everything you just said, I'm aware of. No disrespect to you.
No.
And I'm going to be as harsh as I can. In fact, that's where I'm going.
Good.
You and the MLA for previously for Labour, when you all first got into office, was on the right track. You were the people representatives then. You went in there and made no bones and let the associations know. And at some point in time along the lines, the lines were reeled in. And I didn't think that you all should have just given in. And I'm not saying... Well, put it this way, that you should have eased off. Perhaps they started with their own threats. But that's what this country needs. That's what Caymanians needs. That's what we've been looking for, Minister. We need the government to tell the industry enough is enough. I'm not sure if the government is not understanding the people, but that's where it's at. None of us are false in our examination of where we are in terms of our numbers. But when you can't get them in at all, so you said even if we hired that 4.5, let's just make that a number, 100 people. That's 100 people more in the industry than we had. Now what do we have? Token Caymanians and all those hotels. Hotels. I'm not speaking about the condos and restaurants. It's not that Caymanians are not applying, Minister. They are applying. They're not being given, they're not being hired. The work permit renewals, and here's a gap, and I'm not quite sure, I've been thinking about it for a minute, that really needs to be looked at. I know we created that online work portal to help with trying to address the issue of Caymanians applying and holding the companies to the fire in terms of answering why they didn't hire this Cayman, because now we can see who applied. Here's another gap that they're using and exploiting really well. The renewals. So these companies, let's use the hotels, when they have somebody already in a position, they're in a very difficult position because they want to keep that person because they're there, they're ready-made, and they came from around the world, and they're able to exploit them. And they have a Cayman who's coming in and applying. Where's that portal addressing the renewal of the work permits and the Caymanians who are applying in between that? That's where they give you an interview for the sake of eliminating you and being able to get that renewal. I'll just end with this. I believe we're on the same page. I am sick and tired, Minister, of hearing government after government talk about the realities that we know exist, which is that we don't have the numbers for all of our industries. But it's not because Caymanians not applying. I have a solution for it. I got a few solutions for it. But it takes some real will to do that, one of which I think Caymanians would like really well, to be honest with you. But I just thought...
I don't want you to apologize. There's no reason for you to apologize, right? I'm going to tell you this. I don't believe in excuses. And I think I make myself quite clear how I feel about certain things. But we do live in a democracy, and I am one member of a part of a government. And how I see it is the people, I refer back to the environmental movement. Every single time there's anything to do with the environment, there's a movement that pops out of nowhere. There's websites, there's petitions, there's this, there's that. Organized approach. Where is that when it comes to protecting labor for Caymanians?
In many instances, I think Caymanians have almost, in that industry, thrown in the towel.
No, but how can you throw it? Listen, I believe you're supposed to hold.
Let me tell you why. Because then they're blacklisted. So if you push it, then nobody wants to because they think you're being difficult, and so you don't have the people who were meant to be there. They elected, who answers to you. That's where we want the pressure to come from. So I was one of those that was pleased when I saw you and the former MLA or the former Minister of Labor championing that when you all first came in. That light was there. That fire was there. That's what we wanted. I can tell you, I can't think of too many Caymanians, if they were in the industry and exploiting their own people, that were not happy with you guys. You could have kept that up, and I think by now, the third term in, never mind the wranglings that happen within the government now, you would have probably made some headways. We probably would have had that 3.4 minister.
Well, I say this to you because without in the danger of saying anything that will make a lot of controversy within my own circle, I would say put the pressure on, right? I believe in being held accountable, but I will be held accountable for what I am responsible for and nothing else. So I'll not go any further with that, but I would say the people of this country, hold us accountable. If you feel that we're not putting enough pressure on to put Caymanians in any industry for that fact, not only tourism, but for any industry, then put the pressure on. Those who have their own interests, when the environmentalists or the people who want to make money, when they're ready to make noise, they get organized and they come for elected arms. Elected people are afraid of being voted out. Yeah. Make your voice be heard. One thing I've always said, I don't want to be a politician. I am a representative of the voice of the people. And only until you tell me what you want me to fight for, there can I fight for you. When it comes to Georgetown Central, Kenneth Bryan fights for them. And when they are ready to tell me what their issues are and what they want me to stand for, I will do so no matter who's in the way. So I encourage you to talk to your brothers and your sisters, your players within the industry, to stand up and talk about it. But you also have to understand the reality of the industry that we have created. We could hire every single Caymanian, and there will still be a lot of gaps, and there will still be a perception that there's not enough Caymanians in the industry. The reality is we've been blessed by our forefathers to create a tourism industry that is larger than the population of Caymanians. But that does not mean that those 2 and 3% who are trying to get in the industry are getting a fair chance, because I've seen it myself. And I don't want to call any hotel names either, but I've actually helped Caymanians apply. And I had to call up managers and say, please do not make me go ballistic on your hotel. If you don't give this Caymanian a fair chance, then we're going to have a problem. Now, I cannot dictate that they must hire, because the law does not allow me to do that until we are willing to change the law to be more protective of our people. And that's been in my manifesto. We have to have immigration reform to protect Caymanians' interests when it comes to labor and when it comes to business. And unless we are willing to pressure the politicians to put that in legislation, it will continue to be the same. I'll say that there. I love you, my brother. I appreciate the pressure. Keep it on, no matter which politician is on the radio. You put the pressure on.
Bless you, bro, and no problem. Thank you too. We should have had reform from many years ago, but thank you very much, man.
God bless, man.
Thanks. I know, Honourable Minister, you're always willing to share, but I don't want to be the reason why your staff call and say you're late.
Yes.
So you can always come back.
I will blame you, though.
No, that's fine. Now. You can blame me anytime. See this face, you know? It's not just handsome, you know.
I tell you what, I was just, in this closing, I'll say this, right? I said, boy, Sterling, it's so hard to get angry because he said that soft, beautiful voice, right? When he was coming in, when I was talking, he's like, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome here to Radio Cayman. We have the Honorable Minister Torres. I said, hear that baby voice. I can't even get angry. Anyway, my brother, God bless you. Love you. Have a wonderful day. And thank the team and Susan in the background. And God bless the Caymanans.
And to our listeners, the Honorable Minister initially only had a few minutes. He extended the time. Mr. Thompson, as we close out, I know we want a quick reminder. The summer camp, the tourism ambassador summer camp, just a quick a few seconds to close it out for us to remind our people.
Just to let everyone know, the age group from 12 to 17, we still have a few spots available, and that will start on July 29th and end on August 9th. Remember, 1 week per camper. So we have about maybe 30 spots, 25 to 30 spots left. So if you're interested, please call 949-6999 to get information on how to register. And if you do know our Facebook page, and that's facebook.com/CINAA.KY, I believe. And you could get the flyer there. And just call. We will send you the flyer. There's a QR code to scan. And if you want to send an email, it's CINA Summer Camp, CINAA Summer, SUMMER, CAMP for camp @gmail.com. And we will provide you with the information that you need. We'll send you the link for you to register. Send your information in quickly, and your kids or your teens will have a blast. Free food, free fun, free fellowship, everything that's good. And we want to let the participants know that we're on the lookout for the best ambassador. And there are some prizes and special awards, certificates will be given out. And we want to expose you to everything that a true tourism ambassador should know about the islands. You know, the people, how we as a people should behave. We should be welcoming, warm, the Cayman kind experience. And of course, like I said before, we have individuals from DOT who are going to be a part of this. The Turtle Center is there, the Botanic Park, the Blue Iguana Conservation Facility, and Peter St. James, the birthplace of democracy. You want to make sure that your child comes out and experience everything that we have to offer this year. And it's going to be better next year. And before the minister left, we're looking into getting maybe a form out as soon as the camp ends to determine how many individuals are going to be interested in 2025, the summer camp for 2025, which will be bigger and better. And we are hoping that we could increase the number from 200 to maybe even 500.
Right. And then maybe, as you shared too, that extend it instead of 1 week potential. But this is where partnership comes in, not only for people giving of cash in kind in order to, but physical individuals, bodies that can be in place with the requisite skill sets and training to keep the campers safe.
Absolutely.
As we go to the break, if this is something that we can arrange, with all logistics, maybe not each day, but even at the end of each week, a quick call to you from the location of choice and give us a 5 minute sort of preview of how things are going.
Absolutely.
Let's see if we can do that, because that way parents can understand. Maybe one of your children could be your radio spokesperson. I mean, you never know, right?
Absolutely. All right. And we have free T-shirts and all that for the campers.
I need an extra small. Susan needs a medium. All right, we're going to pause. Is our next guest, Mr. Richter, here yet? Not yet. Well, if he makes it, he's going to join me. If he doesn't make it, he's going to still join me in spirit. Again, stay tuned. Join us right after.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Discover your dream home with Cayman National's home loan. Get up to 95% financing, repayment up to 40 years, and just a 0.5% commitment fee. Your interest rate? Depending on your risk factors, it'll be fixed or variable. Plus, you get a pre-approved credit card. This is a limited time offer. Dial 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skin care, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drportercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
Do you know that conditions may change suddenly in an emergency and you may have to leave at a moment's notice? When a hurricane threatens, you should have a grab-and-go survival kit. This kit should include your personal identification and other vital documents, which should be sealed in a watertight pouch or container. For more tips and information, visit the Hazard Management Cayman Islands office or caymanprepared.ky. This hurricane tip is brought to you by Hazard Management Cayman Islands and Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back. Thanks very much for joining us. And again, special thanks, to Honorable Kenneth Bryan as the Minister for Tourism. For those who may have joined us late, he was only scheduled for a few minutes to join the directors to talk about the Tourism Ambassador Summer Camp. He agreed to stay on, at his, sort of request and on his own volition to share with us. All right, we got some open line. Should we take the first call of many? Let's take the first one. Hey, welcome. Thank you for calling.
Calling Dwayne.
Hey, how are you today?
Well, I've been holding for 11 minutes.
Well, boy, I know some mothers who waited 9 months, for the healthy birth. So, I hear you. I apologize to you, but I'm glad that you were able to. It's all good, bro.
So, the tourism ambassador is a great idea. I just want to share my experience, I guess.
Yes, please.
And ask a few questions to some of our leaders.
Yes, sir.
Because I found that over the time with immigration, in the career that I deal with as an entrepreneur, I found that over time there wasn't things in law to say, well, other people can't come and compete with Caymanians, which is really, people don't really say that. People want people to come and compete with us. But there should be some spaces where they shouldn't compete with us, where it's a space where it's kind of like we occupy. For example, you have Native Americans, and they occupy a particular space, and they do their particular art. They promote their culture. And so I found over time with our importing, right? There's gonna be pros and cons, but for me, here's my con.
Mm-hmm.
We now have to compete where 20 years ago I had to compete with probably 100 expat artists, right? And say I'm among 40 Caymanian artists. And when you fast forward, I found that there became 70 Caymanian artists. And I'm talking 20 years now. To this day, it's 300 of import artists that I have to compete with. So I'm saying all that to say this: when we're doing all of this, how much of this do we really want to do, and how much do we then say is too much and it's impacting our social texture. For example, is all of this saturation contributing to marketing being Caymanian, or is it just anybody coming where the venue? It's quite a bit. Quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. But as I listen to it, it's not even so much that you don't necessarily want people to compete.
Oh, absolutely not.
Right. It's a question of to what extent your people have a fair opportunity. And there are times when it seems like if you provide something for your own, we are allowed to be castigated. You want the best of the best to do the thing that you want to do, but nobody is as skilled, today as they will be, 100 days or 10 years if they're consistently trained and upskilled, right? But we never give them the opportunity to make that first step.
Okay, trained and upskilled must equate to opportunity.
That's what I'm saying.
That's just what you're saying.
Yeah, are we giving people the opportunity, right?
All right.
And we allow for too long. This isn't a political statement. It's not even a statement or comment on the society. It's just a factual acknowledgement. One of the predecessors for the tourism ministry, Mr. Tom Jefferson, revealed that in the tourism sector back then, and you're looking, 3+ decades ago, right? You had an acknowledgement of two things. One, the Caymanian working in the tourism sector was very, very challenged to take that income, go to the bank, and use it to purchase property, land, or develop property, because the declared salaries were low, and despite the gratuities and savings being significant, they were either dismissed or discounted for the Caymanian employee in the tourism sector, but seemingly was looked at favorably by the foreign worker, right? And then secondly, you had not just that as a potential deterrent on a personal level on the Caymanian employee, because home ownership then, as I hope it is now, was still something that people were aspiring to, right, as a sense of personal accomplishment, right? But then you had employers allegedly openly saying, we know this is a $50,000 a year job, but boy, you're lucky, if you're making $5,000. They seemed to were discouraged. Now, I deliberately just made the numbers high and exaggerated, but that was what was happening. We saw it in the ads that were posted. We heard it from people who seemed to have experienced that. So if you having those two things in and of itself at play, what's going to happen?
We Caymanians went to other places in the world and we worked. We worked there and we send me money home. Right?
Mm-hmm.
People come here and they're basically doing the same thing. The thing is, you have to kind of quantify some of this, because we actually export more money than we actually want to agree, and people can build their homes in other places, and that's okay too. But when you start to look in your community and saying, well, how much people are we building homes for, and how much homeless do we have, and how can we execute a plan to fix the problem of homelessness, as an example.
Mm.
Well, that comes to my second thing, the carrying capacity. Because we can only handle so much until you start to realize that there's a problem. So I said to Mr. Osi a couple of months ago, earlier in the year, 70,000. Because then you can start to manage it. The numbers are not so high. But as you increase the numbers, you're going to increase the problems. And so my question to my leadership would have to be, how much is enough? You have to ask how much is enough. What's the carrying capacity? And then you have to, that will factor in to who we are competing with, which brought me back to my other point as a tourism ambassador myself. Because I promote Cayman in everything that I do, music and art. And so how can we fix that? How can we not go to 200,000 like ridiculous leaders might propose? That means more people, more NAU, more, and more problems. So that's my point for the day.
But as I
asked Mr. Bryan, the carrying capacity, what is that? What does that look like? Because now if we have too much and it's only 70,000, you can't expect to explain to me and say to me once we get to 140,000 that somehow we're going to have leaders that are going to make this better.
Yeah, I mean, and I hear your point, and it's not only that to your, substantive point about building homes for others in other countries. To what extent, some of those same people in the tourism sector, for instance, are able to build homes here for themselves in Cayman, and is there, whether it's deliberate and conscious, as some have alleged, distinction, right? Some would say a discrimination on the part of foreign workers, in the sector, if they're from one part of the world, not only their pay, benefits, and opportunities, versus if they were from another part of the world. They may be able to build back home, but some can also build here. If these are things that are being alleged, how is that translating into the society, its values, its stability? Good points to make, my friend.
Okay, I guess I'm gone.
All right. And with that, Philip Richter does sit with us, but we'll take this. So the caller who was also, I presume, on bid for a bit. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon. I hope not to take up as much time as the other caller. But what I was saying, I think Mr. Bryan needed to stay on a little longer to ask the questions and give us answers. I heard him saying that there's not enough Caymanians to do the jobs in tourism. I don't think that is 100% true, because I know if you Caymanians apply for the jobs, be treated fairly with the wages and the benefits, I think everyone will jump for the jobs. I work in a tourist-related industry business, and let me tell you, every day people come into this store and they're like, where are the Caymanians? First of all, I introduce myself to them. I talk to them. I tell them about the island, and they are so glad to see 100% Caymanian in a business. All I can hear is, we went to the restaurant, we went to the bar, we went to this way, we went to that way. Even in the hotel rooms, there are no Caymanians. Why are we not given a chance? There are Caymanians here that can fill the post. But you know what? It's all the cheap labor and doing things on their hand with all of these people getting permits. If you go to immigration, you will find out how many people have permits to do housekeeping. When we, the Caymanians, did the housekeeping years back, had the nice, friendly, tourist-related business with the customers and the guests and everything else, they came back. They came back and asked for Mrs. Ebanks, Mrs. Watler, Mrs. Jackson, or whatever. They wanted to identify Caymanians' name and faces. Right now, no one knows anyone. It's only a few of us at our age that can simply identify the older people that they come back. I've had people come in here, ask me about Miss Cleo, ask about Miss Vivian, asked about the people in Northside, asked about the people in Bordentown. Where are the people that is here to identify the Caymanians? Mm-hmm. We know the Caymanians that did the jobs in the hotels, and there are still Caymanians there that are able and willing to work, but because it's all less pay and it's all to the work permit people. And I am appealing, we need Caymanians in the jobs in tourist-related industries, because this is a Caymanian island, and I think we need the grassroots Caymanians to fill these posts. And you know what? They are turning the kids away. Kids are coming out of school. Oh, we have a job for you. Come and you know what they do? They give them the dirty work and discourage the kids from getting a job in tourist-related industries. I am telling you, I see it today and every day what is going on in this island. And for the Minister for Tourism, he needs to get out and look around and see what is going on. Tell me, if you go downtown and you walk around the stores and you walk around in the tourist-related industries, businesses, tell me how many Caymanian faces do you see? Tell me to tell him, where are the surnames? You don't even find a Cayman surname anymore, these businesses. Where are the people's faces? Where are the Caymanians? I just had a friend that sent me something on TikTok where this guy came in and went on vacation, and he said back and said, oh, he had people from Zimbabwe. He had people from South Africa, Canadians, English people. Why are we Caymanians given a job? This is what we need. We need Caymanians. Get rid of the immigration people that are given these work permits to get their hand grease under the counter and under the table. It's a lot of them that is doing that. And let me tell you, even to sweep the floor, they have to get a work permit. Caymanians were raking leaves and sweeping from time I was 5 and can still sweep and rake. So why do we have to get a work permit for people to go make a bed, wash dishes? Caymanians are able to do it, but you know what? We're not getting the right salaries. We don't have a work to get a work permit. But you know what? They're getting a work permit for people to do these things, and then the people that they get the work permit for is doing 2-3 jobs on that same work permit. It has to stop. It has to stop. It's so much going on. It really has to stop, Sterling. You know what? We have to get a march. I don't know who's going to start it, but I am willing to join it. Thank you for listening, and have a good evening.
And to you, thank you for sharing. And after we come back to this break, we've expected, he is present. We always engage. So stay tuned. Mr. Philip Richter will join us after.
Summer's heating up, and so are the good times. Whether you are out on the water, enjoying the beach, or gathering with colleagues for an office bash, make it a feast to remember with Subway. From assorted sandwich platters to mouth-watering cookies, our catering menu has something for everyone. Perfect for groups of 5 or more. For food that's fresh, fast, and perfect for any occasion, choose Subway Catering. Visit subway.ky for catering options. Subway. Eat fresh.
You know who this is? That same old girl that went to Hollywood and Panama? Well, guess what? The fun ain't done yet, because this year, I'm going to country concerts in Denver. I got kick up my heels in Times Square. I got keep living the dream with Cayman Airways. We so blessed to have them. I tell you what though, this old girl's feeling younger than ever.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering international non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, Kingston, Mobay, La Ceiba, and Havana. Enjoy free rum punch, free in-flight entertainment, free seat selection, and free meals on select flights. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Social media, X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Interact with our talk shows on YouTube. Download our official Radio Cayman app, or you can log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky. You can also add us to WhatsApp
on 925-3261.
All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks very much for joining us. And in the studio, before we take the calls, we have Mr. Philip Richter. I know we have decided, let's have conversations about these things. We put a lot of work into
yes, we do.
Having some conversation, and then, anyway.
And then life happens. But you know what? We came prepared. And that's all I can say. But I'm thankful to be here. I'm thankful. When I was driving in, I was looking around. It's like, ooh, about to talk to the nation. It's an honor being here, and thank you so much for inviting me on this beautiful show.
Well, thank you for making time, but also for preparing so that we can have something that we encourage other people to think, but also to speak.
Yes.
Ms. Susan reminds us we do have a couple of callers. If they want to talk about whatever, we're going to listen.
All right.
Thank you for calling. Hey, welcome.
Hello.
How are you?
Not bad. How are you doing?
Not too bad, man. Not too bad. I don't know if you're doing a bar wedding impression or you trying to imitate Kenneth Bryan. But anyway, all jokes aside, I hope you feel better, man.
I'm trying to imitate Kenneth Bryan. I just have a question that I would like for you to put to the government for us to get an official answer from, and whenever ministers come onto your show or any of the MPs, to ask them to specify the date and time on which the immigration policy was changed, so that Caymanians are no longer preferred unless they're not available. Because that is the default position. And the reason I say that is that one of your previous callers was saying that he thinks that there should be areas that's carved out for Caymanians. But that is an absolute misunderstanding of how it ought to be working. The way it should be working is that all positions, all jobs are for Caymanians except those that they're not qualified for or they're not available for. That's the default position.
Yeah.
And I want to hear the government tell the country which government, which law changed that from the default position.
It shouldn't be something that we have to even think about or look to, right? But you are right, and there's a practice that maybe hasn't, in need of revision. But
caller, I gotta ask: when you get your answer, what is your follow-up question? Because I feel like it's not just a one and done. I feel like you have more to say.
Well, I would say that I find it strange that would be the default position, because I don't recall that position changing. So why would our MPs be acting as if it's not the case?
You are right, man. And I appreciate Mr. Richter asking. I wouldn't have just yet because, man, but that begs some more stuff. Huh?
Hey, here's the thing. Caymanians need to understand. All of the rights that we have will be taken away from us, except those rights that we defend. So if you sit silently, I assure you there is somebody willing to pay off a politician to destroy your life to the benefit of someone else's life if you just sit there and allow it.
Yeah. If this would be of any benefit, right, for those who travel, I'm told it works. In the Cayman context, it may be the same in other jurisdictions, but in the Cayman context, you decide that you're going to go to a particular website. Maybe it's an established, identifiable, credible news site. Before you access, it says, we operate cookies, and I thought it was chocolate chip, but apparently it's something else. And if you either A, refuse to accept that, or you put limitations, you may not be able to access it. But if you're in Europe, for instance, and you say, nope, I don't want any of that, you still can access that site. So the question is, why is it that in Cayman and similar jurisdictions, those things can occur? And I liken it to if I may borrow a phrase that you used many times in the past, say with your consent. Remember you saying that you would sign something and you consent your rights away.
Well, in this particular case, you can't consent away legislation. The law is that you need to be Caymanian, otherwise you need to get a work permit. And the idea of the work permit is only where there are no Caymanians. And to make this even simpler for those who are still might be struggling with this idea, the government went ahead and set up a site where all jobs must be registered so that they can ensure that that's the case. Now, I don't know how much more evidence you need to understand that all jobs are for Caymanians, except where they're not available.
But if the system, as alleged, allows the use of temporary work permits to be an avenue by which it's now temporary that eventually is converted.
That's not what the system allows. If I give you a car and I say the proper way to use this car is to drive 25 miles an hour, you could drive 50 miles an hour. And just because you're driving 50 miles an hour, and you might be practicing that on a daily basis, doesn't mean that you're using the car correctly.
Yeah, to you.
So I'm saying to you that the idea that somehow you can just get around the system with a temporary permit, that's an abuse of the process. That's not the proper use of a temporary permit.
So, caller, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that there's some loopholes in regarding to temporary work permits?
No, I'm saying that if the speed limit is 25 miles an hour and I give you a car and you drive 25 miles an hour, you're acting within the law. And if you go 50 miles an hour and you do that on a daily basis, that doesn't mean there's a loophole in the law. It means you're breaking the law.
Let's use your traffic analogy. What does a traffic cop look like in your scenario?
That would be work. Work is responsible for ensuring that these matchups take place and work permits are handled properly. And I mean, I know that people who are supposed to do things may do things improperly on occasion, and I'm not trying to throw any aspersions at work because there's no specific thing in my mind that I can say I blame work for. The point that I'm making is that the process of having a temporary work permit is to, all right, let's take a step back. Immigration policy is essentially a synonym for labor arbitrage. Do you agree with that?
If you could expand on that.
Well, business owners want the best possible price for the degree of skills in a worker as possible. And so if you can get someone with, I'll just use just simple terms, someone who can buy groceries, and that person can do it at a rate and with a degree of quality of X. And you say, well, okay, can I find someone from the Philippines that can do it cheaper at the same quality? Well, if they find someone who can do it at, say, 40% less, that's labor arbitrage. You hire the cheaper one and not the Caymanian that's more expensive doing it at the same rate. I mean, doing it at a more expensive rate. And so you have to understand that if you don't want it to work that way, you have to decide whether you want to change that or not. But that's essentially what is happening.
Mm-hmm. We have the news break. I apologize to interject. And if you wish to hang on, just let us know and we can join the caller after. Please stay tuned.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines.
The Headline News is brought to you by Kirk Market.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins. Ofreg denies CUC additional rate changes. CUC submitted an application seeking Ofreg's approval to rebalance its consumer class rates based on its cost of service study. Ofreg refused to approve the rebalancing of the base rates between the commercial and residential classes, as there was no apparent rationale, and it would mean that commercial rates would be reduced at the expense of residential rates, which could have increased by an additional 3 to 4% over and above the RCAM adjustment increase. In international news, a days-long search for a missing baby boy in Louisiana has ended after a truck driver spotted the 1-year-old crawling through the grass alongside a busy highway. Sheriff Gary Guillory told the BBC that the child's discovery was a miracle after he survived alone outdoors for 2 days with no water and no food. Police had been searching for the baby since July 8th, the day they found his 4-year-old brother deceased in a nearby pond. Aaliyah Jack, the boy's mother, was arrested in Mississippi hundreds of miles away. Miss Jack is in jail awaiting extradition to Louisiana on a charge of failing to report a missing child. The baby was taken to hospital and released on Wednesday to Child Protective Services. 9 babies have died from whooping cough since November 2023, with cases continuing to rise in the UK. The latest figures in England show 2,591 confirmed cases in May, with a total of 7,599 since January. Experts worry this is a bumper year for the bacterial infection, which can be particularly harmful for young babies. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Zollins.
www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
Cayman Islands, your input can shape our future. Plan Cayman needs your input on the updated planning statement to create a sustainable community for everyone. Help shape Cayman's future by participating in public consultations with the Central Planning Authority and the Ministries for Planning and Sustainability. Together, we can build a thriving Cayman. For details and to find the meeting closest to you, visit plancayman.ky. Your voice matters. Let's plan Cayman together.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us in the studio, Mr. Philip Richter. We know that the gentleman that was just on the line has been gracious to remain. So, Phil, before we go back to the phones and join the other caller, anything quickly, or we just joined the...
Just joined the caller.
Okay, we joined the caller. Hey, thank you so much for allowing us to take the news then. From what you were sharing and recognizing, as you said, we've created this market, people looking for the most they can get out of an employee for as least pay as possible.
Mm-hmm.
That was the premise of some of the things that you were sharing, right?
Right. Yeah.
Well,
you see, there's a big misunderstanding when it comes to the subject of when you're paying someone, what you're essentially doing is you're buying their time and knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when it comes to talking about minimum wage, it's usually very difficult because the average person looks at minimum wage and they say, well, I need to be able to buy milk and I need to be able to buy food and pay for electricity and so forth. And I agree with all of that. But there's another side to the coin. here's where the balance needs to be struck, and sometimes employees need to put in some work, and sometimes employers need to be able to give people an opportunity to gain some experience, because unless you have the opportunity, you can't really progress, right? And so if I want to buy your time and your knowledge, and I'm going to try to use a simple example. Let's say I want to build doors, and the number of doors I need to build and sell per day is, let's keep it simple, let's say it's 10. And I have 2 employees building those doors. I need each employee to build 5 doors a day.
Or both together build 10.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so if I hire you to build 5 doors a day, but you could only build 3 doors a day, you see how that hurts my business? Because wait a second, we're talking about cost. We're not talking about profit. I need you to build 10 doors just to break even. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Understand? That's to pay the rent. That's to pay your pension, all that other stuff. Just
health insurance.
To break even. We're not even talking about profit yet. Right?
Right.
Because we're talking about cost, not sale price. And so as I buy your labor and skill as a component of the door that I'm manufacturing, you need to be able to put out an amount of work that allows my business to be profitable.
Yep.
Otherwise, you're not beneficial to my business.
Yep.
Follow that logic?
Yep.
So now I'm very sympathetic to the idea that some employers want to pay employees nothing. That there's a legitimate argument there, and this is why a discussion is important. But the reason I'm going to this level of detail to discuss this is because some people believe that the reason why they should be paid the amount that they're paid is because they need it. And it may be true that they need it, but that's not the reason the employer is paying you. The employer is paying you because you're able to produce a sufficient degree of work that allows his business to be profitable. If you can't be a part of the team that makes the business profitable, then you need to either find ways to work more efficiently, you need to gain more skill, or a combination thereof, in order to be able to be valuable to a business.
Yep.
Because if I'm sitting there and there are 2 employees, prospective employees sitting in front of me, and one can build 10 doors a day and the other one can build 3 doors a day, I wonder if you guys could guess which one's going to get the job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the 10.
What I mean?
Yeah.
This is what we need to have a real conversation about the issues. Just saying, we need a minimum wage, that doesn't really help people understand the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that there is a job skill shortage, and that shortage is then supplied by temporary work permits or work permits?
Well, I'm not in that type of business to say to what degree there is a shortage.
Mm.
But what I would say is, given the fact that we have so many people working here, there is a demand for this market, or the markets in this country, that allow for more than the number of Caymanians that exist. So the question would be, the Caymanians who are unemployed, is it because they don't possess the skills, or is it because favors were granted, whether it be politicians striking deals, that cause people to be able to come in and take their place. I can't say to what degree that is actually happening, but I would say that we need to ask the question, if you have the skills and you can work efficiently and you're willing to work and you're capable of working, why would it be that you can't get a job? And whatever the answer is that we get, we should address it. Because I do not believe that if we allow Caymanians to continue to go without being able to have ownership in the country, that this is all going to end peacefully. I don't believe that at all.
Yeah, I share similar trains of thought you do. I just wanted to ask you, caller, what do you think the unemployment rate is in Cayman?
I'm not exactly sure the exact number, but let's just say whatever the rate is, we should, because of the discussion that we just had, what would be the solution? The solution would be, okay, let's see what programs we could get in place for people to gain skills. It might not be in the exact industry that they want to be in, but gain skills that make them valuable to employees. And if you do that, and that doesn't work, then we have a much different problem. And whatever it is specifically, we need to address it. Now, if it was up to me, I mean, I would take it head on, but the problem is most politicians approach things sideways and by inference and all sorts of nonsense, and they're scared of their own shadow. I think they should be. I mean, I listened to Minister Bryan earlier, and he sounded very willing in the tourism industry to get people involved in learning about tourism, and that's good. But I don't see that kind of enthusiasm generally across the House. Otherwise, immigration issues would be actually addressed, and we wouldn't be going on and on and on with things being unresolved.
All right. Appreciate what you're sharing. I mean,
thank you.
If you want to share, Mr. Richter, if not, Susan, the other caller? All right, let's take the next call then.
All right, take care.
All right, thanks very much, man. As we go to the next caller. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling. Yes, hello? Hey, welcome. Thank you for calling.
I was just
there we go.
Picking up from the conversations with the minister and other callers.
Yes, please.
Especially in regards to the minimum wage review, which we know the report has been submitted to government. It hasn't been tabled, I don't think, or discussed in the parliament yet. Why I say that is because government has called for people to make their input, obviously, and we still have maybe weeks. I know a date was set for Parliament, not sure what items they'll be discussing, but the public still has a few days, at least a couple of weeks maybe, to discuss or to make input to their MPs in terms of their concerns about minimum wage. And I would just add 2 points in relation, my own opinions, which are obvious. The seasonal work that you mentioned, that callers mentioned, in tourism especially, is a very big part of it. Well, specifically, they mentioned temporary permits. But temporary permits in tourism is a big issue because a 6-month temporary permit granted in October, November carries that person through the entire height of the tourism season. And then they may go back home or they may find something else after that 6 months is over. But you basically blocked or occupied a job during the height of the season. nobody really wants to join. It's difficult to join. Like now, July, August, when it's very low season. So why I say that is, especially for tourism workers, that I think that temporary seasonal type of permit that began from the days of Hyatt Regency, when the manager, who was Irish, brought in the Irish workers during the summer, and then they went back home to their high season in Ireland in the winter, so they got the best of both worlds. Or it might have been the other way around in terms of the season, but you understand the picture. I mean, the temporary seasonal workers are not the best fit for developing the tourism industry. And of course, they don't pay certain things. I don't think they pay pension and things like that. So the pension fund that we're trying to build for, the future is that much less, stocked up or supplied.
Mm-hmm.
But tourism workers, and we also have to start training, yes. The summer, the low season right now is the time to train. We probably have 400, 500, 600 high school graduates and people returning from college. This is the season. We have 3-4 months to train bartenders and waiters and front desk and all those positions, which is not, that's not impossible to do. To have on-the-job training over the summer should be something that happens every year as a formal, and that would lead to, I think, a significant amount of jobs in the future. So that is something that should also be taken more seriously as well.
Yeah.
But I'll leave you there, and hopefully people will think about the minimum wage.
All right. I appreciate it as we take the next break.
Oh, okay.
All right, sorry. And then we got a caller on the WhatsApp. I think we'll take that as well. Stay tuned.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
It's game time, Subway fans. We're upping our sub game with the Subway Series menu, an all-star lineup of 6 delicious recipes. Just order by name or number and we'll do the rest. Whether you're catching a quick lunch or just need a tasty victory, the Subway Series menu is coming in clutch. Subway Series, easy to order, hard to resist. Try it today, only at Subway. Eat fresh.
Find your dream car with a Cayman National Vehicle Loan. Enjoy 100% financing, up to 8-year repayment, and a 7% fixed interest rate for the first 5 years. For eco-friendly cars, we'll waive your commitment fee. This only applies to new vehicles. Call 949-8300 or email lending@caymannational.com today.
The Ministry of Education and the Passport and Corporate Services Office remind all students traveling to and from school overseas to ensure their passports are valid for both travel and entry into their destination country. Passports should be renewed at least 10 weeks before departure, and any necessary student visas must be obtained. For passport services, contact the Passport and Corporate Services Office at 649-7678. For Ministry of Education scholarship inquiries, contact scholarships@gov.ky. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Education and the Passport and Corporate Services Office.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. What is on your mind, Cayman?
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for joining us. And as we go to the callers, I want to say a special thanks to Mr. Philip Richter, just coming in, keeping my company, adding some, very, very, very needed commentary to some of the things.
Happy to be here always. It's more than a pleasure. It's an honor Really?
For me, it is, sir. Thank you very much. And hopefully you, as others have accepted the invitation, you come in, we talk, we encourage people to feel the courageousness to share, from their perspective.
Yes, courage is contagious. And also, I do believe we should ask ourselves what we can do for the country and not what the country can do for us.
And I mean, that contagion isn't something that you need to go to Dr. Paulson for, but if you don't know what I'm talking about, Susan will tell you. I believe we can go to the WhatsApp, Miss Susan, and go to the WhatsApp, eh? No? All right, she says you'll take them as the order they came.
All right.
My apologies.
Hey, fair is fair.
Yeah, she might be short, but she's fair, Let's go to the regular call. Hey, welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Hi, Dean. I get a bit confused. You'll have to start saying the last digits of the number so we can know who's next.
We can figure it out too because Miss Susan makes it easy. So the regular call is the one on her right. The WhatsApp call is the one on her left. The middle one, just kidding. No, we're on the normal cell call. I think that's you. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to go back to a few calls. A lady was calling, and she referred to Northside and those places. I wanted to kind of piggyback off of what she was talking about. I wholeheartedly agree with what she was saying. I do believe I don't necessarily agree that we don't have enough Caymanians for all positions. My position is that we should have Caymanians at least on the front line of these jobs. I actually pity sometimes the tourism minister and the labor minister, the responsible for immigration. So this is, we are at a pivotal point in our country's history where with this development and trying to figure out where to go and how best to fix well. I'm hoping that our government, any administration, immediately past, the present, and whatever government is coming up next election.
Caller, I'm sorry, but you sound quite muffled. We're having a hard time hearing you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mr. Richter. I probably strained to hear, but not appreciative that other people may recognize the challenge.
Because he's making great points. It's just
you have to work really hard to
hear it.
See if Miss Susan can fix that, and then if not, we'll swap lines and try another thing. She wants to try. Diligent Susan. That should have been her nickname. We're going to try it again, Miss Susan, see if we can reconnect.
Yeah, let's try it again.
All right. Yeah, hello, you still there, Mom?
Yes, I'm still here.
There we go.
Much better.
Much better.
I know what it is. You had chocolate.
Right. What I was saying, I wanted to piggyback off of a caller a few calls before, a lady that was talking about, employment, and I was agreeing with her, and I was saying that I don't necessarily agree that there's not enough Caymanians to fill most of these jobs, but at least my position is Caymanians should be on the front line of these jobs. I mean, years ago, our country has developed immensely, as we all know, and years ago, Caymanians were at the front desk of hotels. They were the bellboys of hotels. They were the taxi drivers. They were the bus drivers. They were the gas station attendants. And these were the people that, they were the housekeepers also, and these were the frontline people that tourists and our residents encountered since the topic is on tourism and that area, when they had to take avail of these types of services. And I strongly believe that we still have sufficient number of Caymanians that could be placed in these employments. I don't know how these ministers are going to enforce or force these hotels and these establishments and businesses to, first and foremost, in the States, what they do, I know I'm kind of going all over the place, but in the States, what they do, and I think it's kind of something similar here too, is that establishments and businesses have to get a certificate from the Labor Department to show that they have tried unsuccessfully to fill these other positions where that can't be filled by citizens, right? And that certificate has to actually accompany any application that goes to immigration. I'm just going to call it immigration, INS, and so forth. And And that is an actual certificate that proves, once it's stamped by the Labor Department, that these businesses were not successful in getting citizens to fill these roles. And I think we need some sort of similar program like that here that gives, I know it sounds like a major overhaul, but we are at a pivotal point in our history where we've seen these islands develop at such a rapid pace that they're saying that our people are outnumbered. Another thing, I don't believe that. Another thing I have been advocating for is rehabilitation of our Caymanian persons who have been to prison for, say, minor offenses, what they call Category C offenses. I also believe that the government need to look at the, what is it called again? I can't remember the name of the act right now, but we need to revamp that act. And we also need to look at calling for businesses and establishments to offer, whether even if they have a small criminal record, because I know personally of persons who've gone to places for jobs, and because they had a Category C offense criminal records, not a major, major convictions or anything like that, and they felt within themselves, and we can almost assuredly believe that that's what happened, that they were turned away from these jobs. Decriminalizing marijuana is another thing that needs to be considered, because we have a lot of Caymanian young men and young ladies who are even just arrested for a personal possession of marijuana, and because that's there, it hinders them from getting a job. We need to look at the bigger picture and getting all of these things comprised and put on the table. All the ministers sit down. They need to get out and listen to their young people, listen to their middle-aged people, and they need to really look and see, this is our islands, like that lady is saying, these are our islands, and we need to take them in the reins and put our people on the front lines. We have sufficient people that can do this, whether they're young, middle-aged, or old, or retired. We can put a lot of retired persons back in, and some of these establishments also need to give persons a chance that have been to prison. I know I've been on a while doing, but
no, but you were holding. Thank you.
That needs to be said.
Right.
We have people that can get out into the employment. There's a gas station in Red Bay next to Hurley's that employs Caymanians as their pump attendants. There's another gas station in West Bay. That gentleman employs no one else but Caymanians down there. These are the things we need to ensure, because our young men, I'm sure they don't mind doing these jobs because it's an honest living.
Yes.
But not when they feel that they're going to be they're going to be discriminated against, because I can tell you, I've seen it on the job. There's a very, very prominent office supply store here in Cayman that I have seen them discriminating against two young Caymanian young ladies working there. And I've watched it many times when I've gone into the store. So this is real, and our ministers need to wake up and stop. I'm not saying that they're deliberately pretending, but they need to wake up and get the cold water splash in their face and get out and call on our people to really come to them and say, hey, I'm going to answer my phone. If you're a family member or someone that's been to prison for a small infraction or something, let them get in touch with me. I need to put these names, so the more names I can accumulate, the more numbers I can see and say, hey, we have more unemployment than these little surveys or whatever they use to calculate these
the level of people who are
these are not, a lot of times they're not reflective of true figures. And some of these surveys that the Department of what's it called that is doing here now, that goes around to your house and find out about how many people live in your house.
That's
how many people
ESO.
Yeah,
Economic Statistics Office.
It's part of the Labor Force survey, but thank you for sharing. And maybe this is where that societal awakening is necessary. The employers, as you referenced, who are willing to take on people.
But caller, I have to ask: do you see, from like a business standpoint, why they might be reluctant to hire someone with a criminal record? And if so, what would you like to see that person with the criminal record do to show that they have changed their ways?
Well, I mean, who to know that that person has a criminal record? That's why I deliberately mentioned Category C offenses.
Yeah, well,
right?
let's use Category C offenses.
Yeah, that's like the minimum.
Yes.
That's like the lower spectrum of offenses that a person can get. So if someone is and I'm still going back to say if someone was caught or arrested for smoking marijuana and they were only charged with a small portion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the employer says, okay, we need a police record, because that's a very common thing right now. When I came back home and I looked for a job, I actually had to put on my resume that I am Caymanian. I've never heard of that before, but that's what was requested of the agency that was assisting me to look a job. I had to put on my resume that I am a Caymanian, right?
Right.
And so that can be looked at. Can we go and look at what kind of offenses does our Caymanian people get charged for, and what can we review and say, okay, well, maybe these offenses, if we drug test you and we see that, okay, no, we don't want, the other thing is, I know I'm going all over the place.
Yeah, we want to take that last caller as well, try to give everybody, but thanks, huh?
But I don't know. Once the government mandates certain things, right? I don't know that the employer has to advertise. Well, we've hired someone with a small infraction or a small Category C offense police record, or someone that was arrested for a little small portion of marijuana and something. I don't smoke marijuana, and I'm not advocating for marijuana to be totally legalized, but this particular example is one thing that has hindered many of
right.
young people or other people.
But you do recognize, as you shared, right, that if an employer is asking for a clean police record,
mm-hmm.
It will or will not be. But being arrested is different from being charged, which is different from being convicted, which is even different from being whether a conviction has been recorded.
Right.
Respectful, Mom. Thank you. You always make good points and trying to, balance everybody. We did have I believe, one final call. Thanks for a couple extra seconds into the inning. Let's go to the WhatsApp. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Hello. How are you doing? What are you doing?
Good.
Hey,
how are you?
Thank you. And apologies. Yep. Thank you for hanging on.
No problem. This is Carol Aram speaking. As you know, I guess you could know my voice by now. I want to say this to you. When we speak about the minimum wage
mm-hmm.
here, okay, without the proper data, it's a fallacy and it's a ploy and it will never work.
It's a ploy for what?
And I'll explain that to you this second now, okay? What do you guys think will happen, say we was to put up the minimum wage tomorrow to $10?
In my opinion, the cost of everything is going to go up.
Exactly. So it goes nowhere. It helps no one. Am I correct in saying that then?
It helps you it helps the person on minimum wage getting a little boost.
Because if you're getting more money and everything else goes up, therefore you're paying more, then you're in the same position that you started with to begin with.
In a sense, it's like some sort of quasi-inflation.
So the only way to truly assess this issue is with government spending and dropping the cost of living, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What causes this issue is government spending and the things that they're spending on. And we, the people, pick up the slack for it. I mean, if you look at how government calculate their GDP, they're actually calculating, right, on monies they haven't received yet. They're guessing, okay? Wayne, could you calculate 3 years from now what you may or may not make? You can guess it. Could you spend money on that? Could you go to the bank and say, next 3 years I'll make this much money, give me a loan? You can't do that,
No. Hopefully people understand what you shared. Yeah.
When governments do those things, and then we overspend, everything that government do is overspending, right? It always overspend, it always over budget, right? And then we talk about minimum wage. So if you was to put up the minimum wage today, the $10, $12, $13, $14, it goes nowhere, because we have to drop the cost of living in order to get people down to a position where they can afford stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Government can't continue to spend and expect to bring up the minimum wage and expect it to be the be all and end all. It'll never work. right? And then I want to touch on a couple of points. I know you're short of time, right?
Yeah.
The other thing I want to say to you, go ahead.
Yeah. One thing, caller. Do you have any recommendations how to lower the cost of living?
Most definitely.
Would you mind sharing
recommendations?
Sharing some with the class?
Government, well, the leaders should know, right? Okay? That's what we pay them to do. I know. The leaders there should know. And these are not things that I will say now that has never been put out there. Okay? This has been put out there over and over again. Cayman Islands government do things to compete with the private sector, and they should not be doing it. All right, and I won't expand on that. You can go through government departments and figure out which one's competing with the private sector and which one isn't. Right, there's a lot of government departments that are competing with the private sector that we should not be doing.
Caller, could you give me a little teaser, a little sample, a little example? You know how when you get a dog and it's hunting, you give it a little something to scent so it can go find the quail or whatever you hunted. Give me something to work with here.
Do you think that we need a plumbing department in government to do plumbing, electrical, or any maintenance to begin with?
Well, the government has a lot of buildings. Who else is going to maintain them?
You pay somebody to do it because you'll get it cheaper. And I'll go on by saying this. Do you know the procedure for a government employee that's doing maintenance to go and get something done? I'll just give you a prime example now.
Yeah.
If you send out one of the government electricians out to go and look at a outlet at a school or any government building to say that outlet needs to be changed, they go out there, find out what the problem is, look at the problem, figure out that the outlet needs to change. Then they have to write a report, carry it back to their supervisor and say this outlet needs to be changed. Then they need to send it to somebody else to get a PO. Then that person writes a PO, give it to that person. Then he goes to Thompson's or wherever else and buy it in the cart and then change it. That's 3 days.
That sounds like
if you call Andrew Electric, they probably have an outlet in the van.
Yeah, but I think that's a good protocol. I mean, personally, in my private business, I operate on those systems, and I think it shows accountability and transparency.
That procedure costs money that we should not be paying, and that caused the overspending and stuff that we should not be doing. There's no reason why government cannot contract out these services. Zero reasons, and they get it done cheaper. Okay? Zero reason they can't do that. Okay? If you check all around the world, other countries do the same thing. Okay? They subcontract out these things because it is simply cheaper. So I'll move on to my other point.
Mm-hmm.
Is that we want to talk about, and this goes hand in hand with the cost of living. Okay? And I will venture to say that Caymanians has slowed down having children because the cost of living is too high.
I'd agree with that.
So therefore, we're not populating our island with Caymanians, and therefore more and more as the years go by, you need more and more foreigners to fill the posts that we can't fill. Do you agree with that?
I see your train of thought.
Okay, so you went from Caymanians back in the day having 4 or 5 children, and you dwindle it down. Caymanians now probably only having 1 or some not having any.
Yeah.
Right. So your population most naturally will. Caymanian population will most naturally drop.
Yeah, it's stagnating.
Right? But okay, so you're importing people to fill these posts. And the second thing is this: we turn around, right? And this is mind-boggling to me. We send our kids over to school to learn and to get a degree in what they're doing. We don't make sure that they have the practical experience to come back here and say, I have the practical experience to do the work. They come back here with the theory. And a company that's looking for somebody to work for them, wants somebody to be efficient, needs somebody that knows the practical and the theory. Could you tell me why government wouldn't say to them, okay, we have you on a scholarship, let me help you get a job in the country that you're in so you can get some practical experience to come back home. Then I can demand that you have this job because you have the practical experience and you have the theory.
I would say, caller, I understand your I like to think I understand your train of thought, but one thing I would say is surely it should be up to the student to equip themselves with the skills and knowledge to compete in the Caymanian workforce, in the job market or whatever.
You can go away and come back with a theory.
Yeah,
right?
but
when it comes to doing the practical, it's 2 different things. So you can go and compete with that. But I'm going to ask you this:
but should government then be like, okay, you studied this, therefore now you're going to study that? What about me and my ambition? Why Why do I need to wait for a government to tell me what to do when I can just learn these things for myself?
I don't know if you're misunderstanding my point.
Maybe, if you could explain it again.
If you went away to school,
which I did,
to get the theory done, to get the theory done on, say, electrical work,
right?
And you are away in X place learning how to do electrical work,
right?
United States, right?
Yeah.
You come back home, you know the theory.
Yeah.
You come to me for a job or any company for a job, they're gonna look, okay, this guy know the theory, but does he know the practical? They're gonna put you hand in hand with somebody else coming from foreign and go, he only knows the theory. This person, I can let him go, and he knows the practical and the theory. So most likely, profit margin-wise, as Dennis Ward was saying, I'll hire this person because he know both, right? Now, if I, as a government, say you have finished your theory, let me help you get a job in the USA, right? That way that you can get some practical experience over there. And when you come home, then you're competing. What we have to understand, right? When you come back home to Cayman, studying, you're literally competing with the best of the best that's coming here that already have that experience. That's who you're competing with.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, rightfully so. But to get yourself in that upper position, you need to have all the skills afforded to you. So how do you get that? You get that by having some practical experience.
Yes, but you, if I'm understanding you correctly, you would like the government to mandate that practical experience, but my thing is, surely it should be on the onus of the individual. I mean, why should... I mean, if you're going to... In my worldview, if you're going to let government dictate, oh, you're going to do this job and you're going to get this training, like, why doesn't, government help you shower or clean your car? What happened to our independence in wanting better for ourselves?
I'm not saying dictating. I mean, if you're over there and I'll help you as a government, help you get a job. If you need extra money to help you pay your apartment until you get a job, I'll help you. Right? Yeah. I'm not saying I'm going to dictate you have to do this. This is what you should do to compete in the business, and I'll help you do that. And this is the things I can give to you to help you do so.
Mr. Lawrence, always enjoy listening to you, and I want to publicly not just thank you and commend you for it, but invite again when your schedule allows, so join us.
Yeah, come on down.
I recognize we're 16 minutes into extra innings, and boy, so I take the responsibility for that, but I'm recognize how important it is to engage. So, Ms. Lawrence, respectfully, I know he has more to share.
Definitely.
But there are other people who want to use the space as well, right? So, to all of our listeners, and to you too, Mr. Richter, for giving us a few minutes of your time. So, thanks for coming in, all right?
Hey, thank you for having me. As I said, it is an honor, and I say this often, and I'll always say it. I think we need to look ourselves in the mirror as a society and ask, what can we do for Cayman rather than what Cayman can do for us?
And if not, know when. All right.
Exactly. Best time to plant a tree is yesterday, but you can do it today too.
Yeah, today is not too late.
Today's not too late.
One listener says, solution, cut the government budget by 50%. A quick reminder.
Bunch of libertarians.
I like your response to Mr. Lawrence when you said in your own private business you follow a similar procedure.
Yeah. Accountability, transparency, and due diligence.
Yeah. And we get his example in terms of what potential a bureaucracy could look like in terms of delayed efficiency and increased costs. But we have here, forgive me, my throat, I'm trying to suppress a cough, but so it's not only because it's tickling, but we have here experiences. I'm reminded where in the PW example that Mr. Lawrence gave, private subcontractors coming in, changing, the employee is dispatched by the private sector subcontractor who sends the employee, looks at the thing, goes back and makes a report to get the thing to come back to do the thing, just like what happens with the government public works department employee.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that there are not inefficiencies in government or in the private sector. It just means, as he said, can we do things more effectively, more efficiently, more
I would say the difference between government bureaucracy and private sector bureaucracy is that private sector already put in all that due diligence already, and so when it comes to let me just get the socket out of the car, it's because we already know how much the socket costs, how much we bought it for, how much we're going to pay John to install it. Does John have the tools to install it? How much did we pay for that? And so on and so forth. I would say
probably.
I would say it's the same thing. It's just I stick to my theory.
But I think it's also true that in the public sector it's going to be magnified, quickly highlighted, and assumed, whereas in the private sector it can be perhaps less public questioning. Come back on again when your schedule allows.
For sure.
And always grateful. I will publicly ask Mr. Lawrence to come in. I certainly will personally and privately call him and sit across. And hopefully others will accept this. This is about us sharing because we care about it. Publicly again to Miss Susan, boy, hope you get off tomorrow. So if she gets the day off tomorrow, I'll be here. Thank you all for allowing this opportunity to join me. Start for the record. Come back for a talk today. We have Kenneth Ebanks, former director of planning, scheduled to come in if he is able to. I know he has a lot on. He has facilitated very kindly 7 to 9 p.m. on Monday nights at the Church of God Chapel Hall relative to the planning statement. So many in the community have reached out. Well, tomorrow he's be our guest, God's willing.
All right.
That's the plan tomorrow.
Looking forward to it.
I got shaved and all that.
Ooh.
If I can get my arm to work. All right, join me story tomorrow. Come back for Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. And Cayman Airways, call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network. And Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital, always there for you. Call 949-6066.